Blerd.Talk, episode 8. Do black people play the victim too much at all? That's what we're here for.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes maybe, sometimes maybe never.
What y'all think? Y'all think? Okay,
Just
so
a
first
little
off,
bit.
yes,
Yeah.
black people do play the victim. I think ever since, obviously since we are black, there are injustices, et cetera, with police or whatever. But I think because of that, people try to take advantage because they're stupid and try to make it seem like every interaction with a cop is a bad interaction. They try to, all of a sudden we got all these expert at law and they feel like they know the law when they probably don't. They feel like the cop is always in the wrong now, and that's clearly not the case. And they always want to be the victim because they're black and the cop is white. It's insane at the rate that it's happening. At least that, well, it seems like it's happening more often because it's being recorded so we can see it now. But as far as that's concerned, yeah, I think some black people are trying to find attention. They're trying to get attention, kind of trying to get the notoriety on the internet that they've been harassed by police and they should get attention. It's attention seeking. Trying to get them likes or them
Clicks.
care buttons. Yeah, them clicks, them care buttons.
I'm interested in what Ghost has to say, so I will abstain from my comments.
Well, I hear what you're saying.
Am I green?
No,
you're
you're
good.
not. You're not
Oh,
green.
okay.
You're good.
Purple.
I mean, my thing about it is because I feel like now a lot of it's being like generalized. So it's like a lot of people be like, oh yeah, a lot of black people, they play the victim, they do this, but that's just a certain group of people, that are making it bad or, crying about every little thing or complaining about every little thing. But the way I see it, I don't feel like black people are playing the victim. I just feel like we're just to that point where it's just like we're trying our best to put a light, because like before you can always hear people be like, oh, I've never had this happen to me, or I've never seen this happen to me, and then you have social media come about and then you see a whole bunch of cases about protests, Black Lives Matter started popping up. You see like cops being recorded. You didn't get that before. Like when Rodney King happened, a lot of the stuff that's happening to black people, that was an everyday occurrence. Like when you go out to like the projects, like different places where they live, that was always happening. It was just never seen. It was never put in the light of like a media, So I feel like now the only reason it is put in the light of media is because the media is taking certain cases and they're playing it. But like if you think about it, if you actually go and look into the date and actually look at the people that have been harassed, look at the people that have been killed by police officers and stuff like that, that's been happening on an every day. If you look at different cities like New York City, Hampton and stuff like that, you have interactions where they have cases with police officers and other black people. That doesn't mean that all police officers are bad. That doesn't mean that all police officers are good. There are some bad apples, and a lot of people have also done it. I know a lot of comedians, if you look at some of their comedy, they also put like dark humor and actually talk about this in some of their skits. Like I know Chris Tucker did this with Chris Rock did this with like Bad Apples, with his Bad Apples routine, and it really, it blew up, and the media was talking all about it. Bad Apples this, Bad Apples that. It was around the whole George Floyd, all the stuff was going on with the police officers. This has always been going on. It's just, now people are actually seeing it. We actually saw this with Colin Kaepernick when he actually protests, and everybody was just like, oh my God, he's against the flag, da da da, and all this other stuff. And he actually said what he was for. And then you look 4 years later, everybody's doing it because he actually put it out there, and actually everybody else started having a voice. You see more NBA players having a voice about this stuff now. They don't just sit there. I think the thing was shut up and dribble, or just play sports and stuff like that. It's more people actually starting to take a stand, actually starting to speak out. Where before it was just like people were starting to give up, and now it's kind of like they're making it like a norm. So I don't. To me, I don't feel black people are playing a victim. I just feel like we're actually trying to put a stand and actually saying what it is, what's actually happening. We're not making this up. We're not making this up. I've had my experiences, and I'm sure other people have had their own similar experiences. I'm not going to go on social media and be like, "Oh my God, this happened to me." Da 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 da. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try to do something about it, or probably talk to somebody else about it that's happened to them. But it's not like we're making this stuff up. We've had this history. We've had slavery in our history. So I could go on and on and on. And like I said, when I did a class at VCU, I got like a minors in African American history. A lot of the stuff that we were taught in high school and middle school and all this other crap, you get into college and you actually go into the history of African American history, some of the stuff that they put in here, they never talk about. And school systems and stuff like that, they never talk about it. And it's only until you actually have to do the history check yourself before you can actually find out some of the truth. Like every country has a dark history. So I mean, that's just my take on it.
Okay, so this is where like I think people get mixed up when we talk about do black people play the victim kind of thing, because we know there is injustice in the states. We know that's normal. But what we're talking about when black people play the victim is like black people act like they can't go anywhere in life, business wise or anything like that, because of X, Y, Z. That's what we mean by do black people play the victim.
Like they use the system. Like the
yeah,
system
they use
isn't
the
this
system.
okay.
Yeah,
the system is in place to keep people of color down,
yeah,
but
keep of color
you can
down,
you
but
can move past it. You can
Yeah, of course.
find avenues.
But you can't
But-
say that race doesn't play a part in that at all.
race,
There's sometimes a race
that's
sometimes does,
cool,
but that doesn't stop somebody from actually going somewhere. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh my God, I'm black, I can't get this position, da da da. If I'm not pushing,
but that
myself,
happens.
But that
that's
people
the
like that.
problem.
Of course, but that's what I was saying. There's certain groups of people that have generalized this and taken this to a whole nother level. Of course, every culture is gonna have that, but I'm not gonna sit here and say everybody.
It's not actually every culture. It's specifically just ours that thinks that kind of aspect.
Like I've heard people. I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, it could very well possibly be true, but I've heard more often that I didn't get this because I'm black. Like how.
Yeah, like
How do you just assume it's because you're black? Maybe you're just not qualified, or maybe you're just not what they're looking for. Just because the guy is white and you're black and you didn't get a job, it does not necessarily mean because you're black. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where me and Afro is play the victim. That's what that avenue we're on, because like they want to go back to,
because I can say Asian Americans, they do way better than us because they do everything as a group. Like they are very close. They're family oriented. Our culture, or Black American culture, currently doesn't really do that.
like crabs in a barrel mentality.
Yeah, we just fucking do everything on our own. It's like, oh, we ain't gonna do this because this person is gonna do this to us. No. It's like, no, yo, if you want us to get anywhere in life or to grow, we have to work as a group. That's how stuff happens. You don't win a war by yourself. That's impossible. You have to have units, commanders, generals, all that stuff like that. And that's where the issue kind of strives at. It's like, yo, shut up and just start working with your people, yo. That's the problem. Like, yes, there are going to be, of course, there's going to be some people that, do X, Y, Z, but you can't just say that about a person without even knowing the person. Like, and that's what we do. Yeah. So, and that's where I'm getting at, where like we play the victim because we do a little bit too much, like way too much. and it's started getting to the go-to thing now, and that's why I'm just like, stop. Because I could talk about people over here, mainly the Filipinos, because they are literally the black of the Asian. Filipinos are the black of the Asians, literally, flat out. And they'll be like, they don't come over here and be like, oh, I can't do this because I feel. No, they fucking work their ass off. If they need to make money, they will sell clothes. They will go to the flea market stores, get some money, get some clothes for like low money, and then sell it on the internet. They will cook. They will do all these things to get money, and they'll work in between their groups. They'll be like, hey, I know this person who wants food made for them. Can you make food? Here's their number. They'll do stuff like that. We don't do stuff like that. We just don't. We just
At least not in
like
large numbers, at least.
we just like to complain about shit most of the time. And it's like, bro, come on now.
Yeah. I understand.
But
yeah.
So it's like, yes, we do have those injustices against police. Yes, I understand that. That happens, of course, but that happens. It may happen to us more or I don't know, because we get a lot of videos of it of us all the time. So, but I mean, we just watched the video where this dude just off two white people and then off himself. Like what? So it's just like, what? And you looked at that, you were just like, what the hell? And it's like, yeah, that's because you don't see it that much. But when you see it, you're like, holy shit. So it's, yes, if we had video recordings of all these other things, I'm pretty sure it would be, yeah, the police are pretty fucked up. They are. We know that. That's a well-known. Some of them are. But they do it to a lot of other colors also. But we just don't see it. We just see it with the black people because that's what the thing is right now. And that's just how it is. But I'm Alex's turn. Go ahead, Alex.
I'll address it from a different angle. Since you guys, everything pretty much for the most part I agree with what you say, with all the bad apples, the bad actors, the terrible things that do happen. What I'll say though is I want to approach it from a culture standpoint. Just from growing up, my life experiences and things I've been involved in and things I've been around. The higher I decided to go academically, things to challenge you, things are actually like considered really difficult by most people, the less I saw people like me there. It made me kind of sit there and wonder why people like me aren't really represented in all of these other things, such as the healthcare field and higher roles. We're not talking about nursing, but I'm talking about doctors, physicians, PAs, things of that nature, or even business, why we aren't really well represented in the executive levels of things. Just overall, we just aren't there. But you know where we are at? Entertainment, music, sports, and that's kind of it. So the question there would be, looking at our culture as a whole and what we push our people to do and what we push away from our children to do. So a lot of the times when growing up, I saw a lot of people of my own skin complexion, whether they're dark or a bit lighter, put me down because I was academically gifted. And when I sit and think about it, I've never once heard in my life any other culture get put down because they enjoyed reading, they enjoyed writing, they enjoyed poetry, they enjoyed creating something with their hands, they enjoyed AutoCAD, they enjoyed business, they enjoyed IT. I've never heard any other culture say things like that. And it continues to this day. Oh, you're a smarty. Oh, you want to be like them. Oh, you're acting and talking white.
Why?
All the time. There's no other culture that does this. And when you're taught that at a young age, you're acting like someone else. That's not you. That's not what you do. You're not good at this. You can't do that.
Yeah, so
people will eventually believe in the hype of saying, I can't do this or I can't be this because of this. That's where I believe all of this actually starts out from. So as you slowly get older and you start failing in life and things, not because of your skin color, because you were never exposed to failure at a young age and you never kept trying to get better, like every other culture. So of course you're not going to be as good as any other culture because you didn't keep trying to aspire to be better. And that doesn't happen in our culture. It doesn't. So then you get people saying, well, I didn't get hired because I was Black. And then to piggyback what Dante was saying there, well, how do you know that? Do you know what metrics they used? Do you know what skills they were looking for? Do you know exactly what it was you needed to study to be here? Or did you just put in a crappy application and just hope and then just sit down? Did you do extra work? Did you study what that job was looking for? And many people I talk to about these things look at me blank-eyed and have no idea what I'm talking about. Because a lot of the times people I've noticed in our culture are comfortable with the bare minimum, if not less than the bare minimum. Think about it. Think of every single other person of our culture you've seen there who has worked at something around our age demographic. And where are they? What are they doing to get out? Are they doing something legal, first of all? Do they have a plan? Did they make a plan? Are they talking to other people to get help and work as a unit? And more than likely, they're not. And that's nothing unique to our culture. We do it all the time. People always want to sit here and say, all right, let's support Black businesses. Let's give them money, right? But why don't work together with them all the time so it doesn't have to be that way? There's no support XYZ other culture business at all. There's not a support white business movement. There's not a support Spanish people movement. There's not a support Asian culture movement. Why are we so special for that? So the bigger question for this is, what makes us so special on this planet versus every other culture who has stood the test of time? Sure, let's bring up slavery, fine. Slavery did happen, I'm not gonna say it didn't. Human history is nothing but slavery. Slavery is still going on to this day. And you're gonna tell me that people who have access to the internet, who have thousands of dollars worth of smartphones in their pockets, who have literally the world's greatest library of knowledge at their fingertips, can't work hard to overcome their challenges because their skin color. We're not talking about people who can't read. We're not talking about people who can't write. We're not talking about people who are barred from going to school. We're talking about people who truly believe they cannot go anywhere in life because they were taught that their skin color is this and other people don't like them. And that's it. Everyone has hardships. We're not special. Yes, our hardships are different, but we still have them, just like every other culture. People are out here thinking that like white people don't go through hardship at all. People think out here Asians don't go through hardships. It's insane. Everyone has challenges in life. COVID doesn't care what skin color you are. COVID has taken so many kinds of people. And sure, you can look at statistics and probably say, oh, it's taken more Black people. Okay, sure. But let's examine the reasons why that may have happened. But it's not just because you're Black, COVID killed you. All right, there's a giant lack of knowledge ingrained in our society where in the American Black culture, it is looked down upon to be intelligent. It's looked down upon speaking clearly, being articulate, going to a point. You know what we look up on? People like Cardi B, music industry songs like WAP, artists and people we want to protect like R. Kelly. We had a Save R. Kelly movement. Like seriously, think about this. Who would start a Save R. Kelly movement? I didn't even look at it because I can pretty much guarantee it was probably some of our people.
Hey man, you realize that. I didn't even know that was the case.
Like think about all the things that we have created, right? Create this entire Black entertainment industry. Okay, fine. Is that all you want to be known for? Entertainment and making people laugh? We can strive to do anything, but we don't work together to even start. We need to work together to have this conversation. I was talking to Dante and Hans earlier about, I was like, looking another Black American in the eye and saying hi to them is looked down upon for some reason in places. Like you can't say hi to your fellow man. Like it's insinuated that someone wants to fight or things aren't well. We've been torn down to the point where we can't even speak to each other.
Yeah,
I think that's more of a thing. I don't know if I said it then, but I think that's more of a
even as a younger thing. Like think about the cultures. Sure, let's say it's a younger thing. No, the culture is like that.
Yeah, they don't do that shit. Yeah, like I was telling y'all before, I can go up to another Nigerian person, a Black person, and say, "Hey, how you doing?" They'll say, "Hey," and then they'll have a full blown conversation about how their day was and everything was like that. But us, like I can talk to a Black American here, Yo, how you doing? I'm doing good, bro.
It's a difference. There's a whole difference in it. So we're not really taught to actually coexist and work together, because the entire time we're just sitting here like the system's working against you and all that stuff. It's okay, fine, sure. What do we do about it? Complaining about it and talking about it that way doesn't fix anything. Let's be solution oriented. How can we work together to overcome this? Just like any other problem in life.
Yeah, I think like I said, what James was saying he's not wrong. But he yeah, and we was looking at it from a different angle.
Well, I mean, I feel like I was saying the stuff like I agree with everything you're saying, but like when I first started it, I'm not gonna single out my whole race and be like, this is all we do. This is, and what I was saying was race does play a point sometimes, because I actually had an experience where I actually sat down when I was going in for an interview. I was actually going for a internship at an advertising agency over here. And I actually had to, sit down and talk to him, had a long conversation with him. He was just really interested in my resume and stuff like that. And he actually brought it to my attention. He was like, hey, I just want to let you know, you have minor in African American studies. You might want to take that off, in the future for whenever you go to other places. This is the first time I've ever had this brought to my attention. I didn't even know it was an issue. I said, why is that? What is the problem with my, minor? What's the problem? It's gonna have people think that you're black. Like right off the bat, they're gonna label you as black. I didn't even think that was an issue. I didn't even know why that was a problem. I didn't know why it was an issue, until he ever said that. So I always kept that in my head, like, oh wow, people actually look at stuff like this. And I talked to other people that was in the agency and stuff like that, are actually, in higher places, executives and stuff like that. And they actually told me that a lot of, I guess like a lot of racial differences you see, in the cultures and stuff like that, it's actually out there. So it's not like, this is fake and all this other stuff. It's out there. And like I said, I agree. Like well, no, go ahead. What you guys say?
The problem is that everybody faces that technically, because people, you wouldn't like say if a person had on a resume, I did studies in Arab cultures. Yeah, somebody's probably gonna be like, I don't want this person here because they're instantly gonna think they're terrorists.
No, I get that. But I'm saying that they're actually like when they was all talking to me and stuff like that, and they was actually telling me like there's actually a difference. It's like, you think you here and you're gonna work with people and stuff like that. There's actually they treat you differently. Like that's an actual thing. Like, I'm not just saying with my race or black race. Of course, everybody's gonna have something to go through. Like everybody, just like what Alex is saying, everybody has something that we're all going through. We everybody has histories. You look at every country, everybody has a dark history. Everybody has something holding them down. All I'm saying is I'm not gonna label the whole black community and be like, we're this because a couple of certain people are doing this, or a couple of certain people are acting like this. Every culture is gonna have a group that does, something to bring that culture down.
Okay, so
I've never, and I'm not saying it don't happen, it doesn't happen, but I never heard an Asian person say I didn't get the job because I'm Asian. But I've like literally I've heard this numerous times. I didn't get the job because I'm black. Like it's automatically you just the issue
is that you automatically assume
you're right that you automatically
that
assume
you're black.
it's
That's
because
you're
of your
black.
skin color. You know what I'm saying? That's the issue. That's the issue I've had.
That's why I said
the whole thing.
What I said about the Arab thing. If they did an Arab studies, the person's gonna instantly think you're terrorist.
Oh, you're Muslim, and you
may
have a bias like against Muslims,
or a bias against Muslim or something like. And that's where like if a person had on their resume studied in white supremacy, I'm pretty sure even a white person would be like, no, and just probably right off his shit instantly. And that's what I like. I understand what he was saying. It's wrong, yes.
Yeah.
But I understood what the person was saying about the resume. You probably shouldn't put that there because it's just because a lot of people look at certain things in the bad light.
No, he said because they would think that you're black. He said it straight
Because
up.
a lot of people look at things in the bad light. Like I was saying,
They may look at things that like. When you first,
I could have been a white person doing an African American history. I got friends that have done it, so it's just like,
and they probably still wouldn't have hired that person because he had that. That's the point.
You too woke.
That's the
you too woke.
That's the point. Like people don't want, like, if someone was just like, so if a woman went to a job and she was like, hey, I went into I did study, and my second major is in feminist movement and all that stuff, I'm pretty sure that person will be like, no. and just push that to the side, because this is like, I don't want that stress in my group. I don't want that issue. I don't want to have any cross or conflict. I don't want any of this in my workplace. I just want my people to come here and work. That's it. That's literally all I want people to do.
The argument isn't about if it's right or wrong. It's just like, do black people play the victim? in certain situations, they do. I don't know, for whatever reason. I don't know if it's for clout. They want eyes on them. I don't know why. I can't rationalize why someone would want to play the victim. Attention.
So I was on a plane flying like 2 years ago. I was on a plane flying back. I was sitting right next to a person who did studies on terrorist ideologies and what their ideas was, and he just came from Saudi Arabia. I was sitting right next to him. Did I go, oh shit, this nigga's a terrorist? No, I asked him, hey man, so like, what do you study in? Why do you study that? He was like, yeah, I just study in the thought process of what terrorists thinks and all that stuff. And I go to some American departments and stuff like that to tell them how they think, how they do this, how they do that. And it's like, I didn't instantly just think of, oh, he's a terrorist. No, I was like, yo, I got to find out what he's doing the study for. And he was actually doing the study for a good cause. So it's just like, you have those things. If you put that on a resume and went to a certain job, somebody's gonna think, yo, he's a terrorist. Like, it's that's not the case. So that's like you're saying, yes, you went there and minored for Black studies and stuff like that. That's dope. That's cool. But honestly, it shouldn't be on a resume. I don't know why it is. Unless you're going to a job for a Black history or just being a Black history teacher or something like that. But for anything else, it has no point of being on there.
Depends on the professional ways of applying to. Marketing can be very useful for.
Yeah, I was about to say I disagree with that.
But they do have, yes, you will run into those people that do that, like I was saying, but if push comes to shove, just put the communication. Like, that's the same thing as people, like when I was talking to Alex, I had to get an understanding of it. He cut his hair because people in those higher up positions don't have long hair, braided hair, dreaded hair like that.
That was a funny story. I ain't gonna lie.
I know it's a funny story, but it makes sense. And that's where I'm saying with I understand you're doing your master's in mass communication. You put your African studies and all that stuff. That's cool and everything, but unless it is a predominantly Black company and they're like big on all that stuff and everything like that, some of those people aren't really gonna be like, oh, this is it. But they're just gonna skim over that, or they're just gonna look at it as a bad light. So that's my thought process on how they probably went through it. The same thing with Alex's hair. Oh, he has long hair. He's
a gangbanger.
He's a gangbanger. Like,
definitely.
It's like, so.
A couple points I want to make here. A few rebuttals. Some toward James, or some just in general. So something you stated there is you were saying you weren't going to put out the entire culture and single out certain things or make these generalizations. I'm going to counterpoint that off and say it's been very interesting listening to our culture speak, because many of the times we feel like we're immune to self-criticism. And that is a huge hindrance to anyone. Anyone who can't self-criticize or look for criticism for people that look like them or do their same work will always be at a disadvantage. Because how can you ever ask on what to improve on if no one can actually critique you? whether or not you're throwing the entire community under the bus or not, we have to be able to criticize ourselves honestly. Because at the end of the day, most of the time, it's not us that's hiring us. If it is us that's hiring us, we're going to seek out a person who can do the job and who can do it well. So if you can't criticize what you're doing incorrectly or wrong, how can you ever expect to get better?
Are
And
you
if
saying
you,
that for everybody as a whole, or
as a
just to
whole
certain
in the
people?
Black community, yes, it is near impossible to critique a Black individual in America about almost anything. Have you ever tried? Do you try?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never. I mean, it's a discussion. I mean, I never had a
Oh,
problem.
yeah. But most of the time, it's not. It's a yelling. It's a calling names. It's a put down. It's a you're acting XYZ type of way. It's not even a listening discussion to say, hey, why is this person thinking of this type of way? It's been very rare. And I'm speaking from my personal experience. I've been able to have just an honest one-on-one, throw all your emotions, throw all of your ego to the side and say, hey, let's chat about what's actually happening. Are you actually putting in the work? Or are you just complaining about it? And that's very rare to ever see within our community with things, because it's so easy to play the victim. I mean, it's not unique. People in general nowadays want to play the victim. But playing the victim admonishes you of ever gaining power of your own. Why would you ever want to be the victim? That means you've just given up in things and you are subject to abuse. You don't want to work to gain that power? You don't want to work to create things of your own? Ever? So that's the first part. A second tidbit about it is something you two were just discussing with your communications and African Americans minor studies, and just how other people, Gamma, you're agreeing again.
You're back.
Oh,
Welcome back.
That man said,
Gamma. So the
Oh,
secondary
boy.
part, we were discussing African American studies, how people can view that. The biggest part I'm going to say about that, and once again, this is just the criticism part, is the fact that no one has to jump for joy for something you think is amazing. I know personally, you feel it's amazing that you went through that program, you did those things, and you're proud of that study. No one else has to be proud of anything. And other people may see that as a hindrance. And that's just the reality we live in. I can be proud that I can underwater basket weave, right? Not really that useful in life, but I can be proud at it. But that doesn't mean other people have to see that equal to what I see that as. And the last portion I want to make of it is, a lot of the times with it, what I've noticed with our community, just looking outward, is one, we don't want to do the work, or two, we just don't want to play the game that's clearly set up. There are clear rules to every single engagement that we go through, but we want to ignore them and act like they don't exist because we want to do our own thing. That's not reality. There are clear ways you address people. There are clear ways you talk to people. There are clear ways you go to an interview. There's clear ways that you dress for an interview. And people just want to ignore these things because they say things like, well, as long as I have the skills, I can do blah, 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 right? Or as long as I know the material, I can do blah, blah, blah. Well, where are those people at? In general, where are the people at who don't follow the industry standards, who don't follow the rules of the industry, who don't dress for the role? Where are they at? They don't exist because they're not there. Every other culture plays by the rules, except for us. We don't. We want to do things our own way forever. And we really haven't gotten that far. So it's just understanding these things and understanding things aren't going to be fair. There's nowhere in history where things have been fair. There's nowhere in our environment where things are fair. So this entire thing of like, well, it shouldn't be that way. Okay, fine. Do you want to be right and then be in your same spot? Or do you want to work through things to get in a better area? And just make that choice. If being right is that important to you, then fine, keep doing your life. Keep on enjoying whatever it is that you've created for your own or that where you're at. I have no problem with that. But if that's not what's going to make you happy, then maybe you need to reevaluate things and how you're doing them. Because if you haven't seen any challenges or anything different in the past, I don't know, couple months, year, then maybe there's a lot that has to be changed about you. Maybe it's not all these other people who refuse to hire you, because the common factor is you. It's not them.
So, any closing remarks, comments, concerns, retorts?
I think I hit every little point.
Yeah, I got a question.
did.
You think
What's up?
Obama was ever like, man, they didn't want me to do this because I was black? You think that ever came out of his mouth one day?
No.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he looked at what we just went through with Trump, and he was like, "Man, if I did half that crap."
That's beyond the point. The fact of the matter is he got there and he did it. That's what I'm talking about. You ever think he was like one day, wherever I forgot where he went to school at, the prestigious university where?
I think Harvard.
And he goes, everything one day, like he got a B. And he was like, man, I got
B because I'm black. Yeah.
Because I'm black, y'all. And I'm black.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You ever did
but
that?
that's like, that was the whole point. Like, I didn't even bring much of like anything about like other cultures in other countries.
Yeah, just
like,
want to focus here. But
yeah, because if I did bring that up, it would like, it would
just
make things a lot. It would go on forever, and it'd make everything smaller. Like Alex said, there's still slavery. There's still black slavery in other countries.
Yeah, it's
not even black slavery here.
Yeah, it's not even just black though. It's slavery in general, not even just black. No, black people put themselves under slavery with other black people. It happened. So sit here and try and ignore it like this is some phenomenon in America. It's not. It's not.
Right.
Well, all right. James, you look like you have sleep, but
so let us know what y'all think in the comment section below. If you think black people play the victim, if they don't play the victim, let us know. And tune in with us for next time.
I wonder if am I still gamma?
Yes, you are very gamma, dude.
Damn, you went back to Bruce.
Oh, yeah.
You went back to Banner.
We got our own Hulk, everybody.
We got a Hulk.
They immediately got boxed up by that.
Man, that ain't fair. Hulk don't know martial arts. How you gonna do him like that, Thanos?
Yeah, let him have his fun.
Yeah, I know. Let him have his fun.